Hello, and welcome to the Mikey Buzan livestream, where I don't know what I'm going to draw, and I don't know what I'm going to say. Except for that part. I memorized that. But now, I really don't know what I'm going to say. So this is probably where the stream is going to fall apart. But, let me click on my program here. And, basically, what I'm going to do is just draw random things from my imagination and let the dominoes fall where they will fall. And it's just kind of like talking, where you say one word and then another word appears, except I'm doing it with lines and shapes. And I'm just gonna start out rough, and then later on go over this with a better brush and add more kind of details and find things that you see in it, kind of like when you look at the clouds and your mind just randomly starts putting the shapes together into recognizable things. It's a little like that, but I don't want things to be too recognizable. It'll still be kind of difficult to explain. Just goopy, loopy stuff. But right now I'm just getting in some kind of flat type shapes, and then I'm going to start thinking about the 3D-ness, get some contour lines within here to find shapes in here. See, once you add some inner contours, it suddenly becomes a little more 3D. And I kind of see this shape bending towards this way now, so I'll draw this inner contour in the opposite direction of this one, and do like that. Am I going live yet? Wait, does it? Sorry, this is content. Okay. Can someone tell me if I'm live in the thing? Am I live? I'm boomer light. It's not full boomer, but just non-alcoholic boomerness. Alright. No offense to anyone. No offense to anyone ever, including myself. Oh boy. Alright. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. If this isn't working, whatever. I'll have a drawing at the end of this either way. And I guess, well, these are kind of turning into eyeball-y things. It's my one trick. One thing I kind of lean into. Surreal eyeballs. Never grew out of that phase in high school. But I kind of am also, so like these are kind of organic-y shapes, but I'm already feeling, not that I want to make it a cyberpunk thing, but I want to put some like kind of cables and more mechanically type things in here once I get going here. Probably should have drawn more of like a line of action to kind of connect these things. I kind of see a S shape emerging here. This is like, well, it's also kind of hard to talk and draw at the same time. So if I go non-verbal, you'll know why. I find that I can listen to stuff when I draw, especially if I'm drawing like cleanup. But if I'm doing storyboards or figuring out the key frames of an animation, then I can only listen to instrumental music. I can't listen to anything that has lyrics or listen to people talking, because I don't have enough space in my brain not enough RAM space to deal with so many inputs. But doing cleanup or tracing line work over stuff, I could listen to a whole audiobook, no problem, because you're that's more like muscle memory, almost more like a physical sport than thinking too much. Maybe I should call someone I know to ask if I'm going live, because I don't know. Oh wait, it says I have 7 concurrent viewers and 2 likes, but it also says scheduled for May 24th, 5 p.m. But it's May. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Whatever. It's whatever. I might start streaming more. I've been really busy wrapping up a project, and then I thought I was done, but then they wanted edits, so that's what I'm going to be doing next week. It's a little emotionally draining to think you're done with something for a month, and then you kind of have to put your brain back into client gear, and like it just feels like restarting a video game that you thought you beat, and then you lose your save data. I didn't really lose my save data because the stuff is still there, but doing edits feels like just it's whatever. I can't complain too much, you know. It's lucky that I'm not loading trucks with food. So I did that. I didn't do it for too long, but before I started doing animation as a thing. Oh, thank you so much for letting me know you can see me. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh yeah, so trying to be more interactive as well. Yeah, also another reason I want to start streaming is to suck less at talking, because I don't talk that much, and anything that's a skill, the more you do it, the more you will be less sucky at it. Same thing with drawing. So if I can talk while I draw, then I'm developing 2 separate skills. And this isn't going to be the only thing I draw on this stream. I'm probably going to try some other things, but this is looking a little PG-13. Well, I don't know. These are eyeballs. Just stop. Okay. I'm going to also try not to say stupid, cringy stuff, but we'll see. I read somewhere that self-effacing humor is very early 2010s, like the 2010s. So I guess I shouldn't do that. I don't know. Why are these turning into eyeballs? Whatever. Maybe I'll. Whatever. It's whatever. This isn't serious. But I really like kind of goopy, loopy stuff. Like on the Studio Ghibli films, I always like it when they have the super slimy, cel-shaded, goopy things. Like No Face from Spirited Away, and the goopy sea creatures in Ponyo. I don't know. That stuff really resonates with me, and I'm still not sure why. But it's just really satisfying to draw, I guess. Now I'm gonna flip this horizontally and just see if this composition is sort of working. Okay. Communication time. Hello. Hey mister, I've been following you for a while now. Love your content. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Mark Benj says, this is a worm of underground consciousness. Ooh. Yes, it's a worm. I like. Ooh. Yes, it's a worm. I like that. I like that idea. It's gonna be a worm on a different planet that has super advanced technology, and the technology has been seeping into the soil, and all the little critters underground have been adapting and evolving with this technology, and maybe their biology is fusing with it, or maybe certain creatures have developed camouflage over time, so their bodies are starting to look a little bit more mechanical. They're still completely organic, but they're over time they've been being modified to for some reason or something. See, if you add these little, like just a single extra contour in between the two outlines, it becomes way more 3D. And that's something you do with cell shading. Like if I go over here and start adding little highlights like that, it'll start looking like it's gonna pop more. Right now I'm just really focusing on concept and just letting this organically turn into something. I kind of see the tail end being down here. Maybe up here is like its main thing. Maybe it needs a mandible or something on the front of its face to show more clearly that that is the front. It's weird how much talking, knowing that you're talking and other people can hear you, but there's no one in this room. I've talked about this like every time I've streamed, the few times I've streamed. I know I just, when I don't know what to talk about, I just talk about the act of talking and how weird it is, but I still just have never gotten used to how weird it is to make little sounds and then people hear you, and then those sounds from your mouth go into their mind, and then they internalize it and respond. But then there's all this potential for miscommunication. There's the issue of, am I explaining myself correctly? Then there's the issue of the person hearing what you're saying, but they have their own interpretations of certain things that you're saying, and then they respond back to you, and maybe they're responding to their own misinterpretation of what you said, and then you respond to their, and it's this weird snowball effect. And yet life goes on. Like, social life still functions despite the inefficiency of, well, yeah, there's inefficiencies inherent in language, no matter how well you can speak. But I feel like I've gotten better over time. Just, I guess, but I don't know. What's the difference between technology and evolving? Did they make it with wormy fingers? I don't know. Perhaps. Maybe I'll give this guy a stupid, well, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I also want to make sure the silhouette's sort of interesting, but maybe I'll give him some little appendages down here. No, I don't know. The thing also is, like, don't want to fill this entire page up with stuff. There should be some negative space still. I remember one of the first art competitions I entered in like 7th grade. I drew a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I filled the entire page with all these different poses of Sonic, and like not a single section of the page was white. And the feedback I got was to sometimes leave negative space. And then she also said, I can tell you like to draw. Maybe I'll keep the kind of appendagey type things down here to give it a little more contrast. I don't want to put them all over the place. Maybe we'll have like a little something coming out here. Not doing really that much perspective stuff, but one trick is to just have things overlap. You don't even have to draw a perspective grid necessarily. You know, if you want things to look 3D-ish, just make sure things are overlapping, and then people will read that as, oh, it's going back into space. So I'm trying to do that right here. These little flaps, and then this thing is coming out over this back flap. And yeah, maybe I'll have a little more flaps right here. No. Well, maybe I'll start just messing around with this a little bit on another layer, and then I'll try to draw something else. Maybe we are all of different dimensions. Yeah, I think in a way. Different dimensions that bump up against each other. Okay. Actually, maybe that's not an eyeball. Maybe it doesn't need that. Okay, that could be like the back of this thing, and then the eyeball-y part's more up here. Or maybe that's a mouth, I don't know. But this back here has these little exhaust things. This is where it starts getting a little more mechanical. Boom. Mostly just do animation, but I'm gonna start trying to do some more illustration type stuff instead of just animation. So animation takes so long, but with an illustration you can get a concept or an idea down in a single page. The only problem is it's like one frame of animation, so everything needs to count, whereas an animation that might have dozens or hundreds of frames, you have a lot of different drawings, and not every one drawing necessarily needs to be the best to get the point across. You have keyframes to do that, but an illustration is like the keyframe. It's your one keyframe to sell an idea, tell a story. I suppose I'm not really telling a story, but You know what I'm trying to say, I think. This thing I think is gonna be make it a little more 3D. We'll draw some of these curvy lines in here. Just imagine this one following through back here. Okay, it's gonna kind of curve up like that. Maybe, I don't know. Ooh, I see. Make this kind of like it's going inside here. Yeah. There we go. It's making more sense to me. Maybe I'll do that over here. Have it like that. And that's more 3D. Yeah. Do that over here. I think this is making them less like eyeballs and more like these little openings inside these structures. We'll have this kind of space potty like thing. Maybe we'll have a cable coming out here. It'll curve around. I don't know about that. Alright, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna shave before this crashes. And then, let's see here. Stream drawings May 24. Then I'm gonna turn the opacity down. I'm gonna do a little thing. I'm gonna start drawing over it. Yeah. Sometimes it's better to come back after a day, let things settle, and you'll see new things to add. But I'm just gonna try to tackle this out. I might zoom in a little bit so I can add detail. Oh, am I still flipping this? Yeah, it's still flipped. Alright. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. And this doesn't need to be perfect. It's just gonna be something. And checking the chat. When does Heal the Weak get on Spotify? For some reason that tune always stuck with me. Wow. That is funny. Thanks. Yeah. That was like 2011. So that's cool that you know about that. But I don't have Spotify. I have another YouTube channel that I'm posting all my music on though. It's just called Mikey Buzan Music. And it's just where I post everything. And Bandcamp. But yeah. I had stuff on iTunes, but they charge you to keep your music up there. And it was like, I don't know, like $6 a year, or I don't remember the exact number, but basically I was basically paying to have my music on there because yeah, it didn't really sell, so kind of wasn't worth it. But I Actually, I had stuff on Spotify one time, but I didn't use it for so long that I think it disappeared. I'm not sure. This is just going to be a black and white type pen drawing, so I'm not really going to worry about coloring or anything like that. It's just going to be a loosey-goosey type of thing. Just using a basic ink brush in Clip Studio. Nothing fancy. It's kind of like a comic type style. But gotta. Oh, thank you, Bambi. I appreciate that. And Shadow Grew a Body says, "Are you excited about the new version of TV Paint coming?" I didn't know there was a new version. Actually, I had the new-ish version on my new Mac, well, new-ish Mac, and for some reason it wouldn't save stuff, so I had to downgrade back to the 32-bit version. And I'm on a Mac, by the way. Yeah, there's some issues. I don't want to poo-poo TV Paint, but like, there's some support issues with the Mac. Yeah. Some weird stuff with exporting where the colors are more washed out. So I actually have a even older version on TV Paint that actually won't run on my main computer, but I still have my old MacBook. So sometimes when I need to export a certain file that the newer version won't do anymore, I have to put it on a hard drive and transfer it to my other computer, then export it from there. It's a little annoying, but I want to use Toon Boom. Saving up, it's kind of expensive. And then there's the whole issue of learning a new program. I know TV Paint so well. And when I'm on a tight deadline, it's like, well, I don't really have time to learn a new program and get slowed down by all that. So hopefully, if I can save up and get the full licensed version, I don't want to do the subscription thing. That's something I do like about TV Paint, is you can just buy the whole thing outright pretty easily. But I know a lot of companies are embracing or either exclusively doing a subscription model, and it seems like it's not expensive up front because it's monthly, so it's like a lower price point, but over time it can really add up. By the way, let's see here. Yeah, anyways, subscriptions can add up. By the way, do you know I have a Patreon where you can get animation to use in your own projects? Ooh. Well, this is loosey-goosey. Like I said, I'm kind of sucking at some stuff because I'm talking, but this is actually turning out slightly better than I was expecting, despite the fact that I'm talking. So when I talk, sometimes I don't know what's going to happen. Like, an example, when I first started driving, I couldn't talk and drive at the same time. I still can't really. If I'm driving and someone's in the car, I pretty much have to make sure they're not talking too much. Because one time I was going with my friend to Walmart. I think we were just going to get some frozen pizzas or something. And he started telling me his story. And the next thing I know, I'm pulling up at the Taco Bell driveway. And they're asking me what I want to order. I don't even like Taco Bell. But somehow I took a wrong turn And the next thing I know, I'm ordering Taco Bell because I was talking and he was talking. So that's why I can't talk and drive, because I'll end up at Taco Bell. Which actually, I weirdly had a desire to have Taco Bell like 6 months ago. I don't know why, but I was just kind of morbidly curious. Like, maybe I'll like it this time. I didn't, but I don't know where I was going with that. The person on the drive-thru was kind of impatient with me too, because I didn't know what I wanted. I don't remember what I got, but it's kind of expensive. I want to start trying some free animation programs, like Flip It Clip, Krita, because when I'm doing animation tutorials, I don't want people to feel like they have to buy a super expensive thing, because like any frame by frame program will work for animating basic things. Like, they might not have all the layers, you might not be able to do multiplane camera stuff, but just like animating a character, animating exercises like a bouncing ball, you could totally use a free program and learn the fundamentals. And then if you decide, hey, I kind of want to pursue this further, then you can buy the program, rather than buying a program and then realizing, oh, this isn't for me, this is actually a lot more work than I thought it would be, or I'm just not that interested in it. But a lot of programs have free trials too, so I would just always recommend giving something a shot first before taking the plunge. And I eventually I want to try Procreate. Oh, the brushes on Procreate are so good. Yeah, it's not fair. I wish you could import them into TV Paint. Because with the problem with Procreate is, at least to my knowledge, you can't animate on your desktop. I think they were talking about the potential of doing that, or they at least sent out a poll asking if people would be interested in that. I'm pretty sure, but yeah. Let's zoom in a little bit. I thought I would be more nervous doing this. I've gotten less nervous in my 30s. I don't know why. I'm still kind of an anxious-ish person, but it's less to do with actual social stuff now and more just sensory overload. Like in a big crowd or something. It's more like a body nervousness rather than a mental and psychological one. I feel so much more mentally good like in my 30s than I did in my 20s. Not that I felt that messed up in my 20s, but there's sort of that pressure too of like, oh, your 20s, those are the best years of your life. It's like, really? Everyone I know knew in my 20s, they were all like freaking out about what are they going to do with their life, or had all these existential problems, financial problems, the pressure of fear of missing out. I don't buy into that one specific decade has to be the best or anything. It's like life is just this weird process, and you just have to go day by day and not hype stuff up too much. Like, just just do your best, and that's just how I feel about it. It's wabi sabi. Means nothing is perfect, nothing is finished, and nothing, something else. I can't remember now, but Open Tunes. Ooh, I'll check that one out. I've heard about that. I saw some YouTubers doing tutorials inside Open Tunes. I also had Adobe Animate, but I really only used it because I needed to for a specific project that required vector animation, and I don't have it anymore. But I know Toon Boom has vector and raster, whereas TV Paint only has raster. I just know the interface of TV Paint so well because I've made everything in it. And I want to learn Blender more. Blender you can do everything in. The learning curve is pretty steep. And I just kind of started doing some drawings in Clip Studio, which I like. It's pretty easy to figure out and get things going. You can import Photoshop brushes. I don't know if the Photoshop brushes operate exactly the same as they would in Photoshop, but I've been doing some background art in here where I need more textures, and then I send it to my animation partner Brittany, and she goes into Photoshop and can add some more extra final details. I was doing that for this planetarium project that is like kind of spacey underwater sea stuff. It's like a hybrid of outer space but also underwater. So it's like coral reefs with some planets coming out of them, and so I was working in really big like 8K resolutions and stuff. Draw a little appendage thingy here. Interaction time. Rough Animator on iPad is a good cheap alternative. I use sometimes too. Awesome. Adobe Animate is just getting worse and worse. Wow. I think Rough Animator, wasn't that invented by an animator who I saw him on Kickstarter. He's like animating a 71-minute film pretty much by himself, and it said he's doing it in the program he developed, and I'm pretty sure it was Rough Animator, or maybe it was just called Animator, I'm not sure, or Key. It had the name Animator in it, but I thought that was pretty impressive that he's a techie guy but also wrote and animated a film. That's very multi-disciplinary. It's like those solo video game developers, like the guy who did Stardew Valley. It's like he taught himself how to program, but then because he didn't have a budget, he had to make all the pixel art. And then because he didn't have a composer, he had to teach himself music and make the music. And the music is just beautiful. I just got Korg Gadget on the Switch where you can compose. It's pretty fun. The only issue is you can't export the songs. So if you want to share the songs, then you need a either an HDMI cable or an aux cable to put into your connect to your computer, and if you have an audio interface, you just record it that way. Click play on your Switch and then record it. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I've only made like 2 little songs, and they're pretty terrible because I'm just trying to figure out the interface more. But it'd be kind of cool to make a video gamey chiptune album. I just love stuff like that. There's also Wario Do-It-Yourself-ware, I think is what it's called, on the DS. And then of course Mario Paint, classic on the Super Nintendo. That one you couldn't save anything. So you had to, if you wanted to record your song, you had to get out your VHS recorder, record it on VHS. But that Mario Paint, I think it was most known for the music application, even though it was called Mario Paint because you could paint in it. It's kind of like Microsoft Paint, and so it's like really basic. But it also had an animation program, but you could only record like 6 or 8 frames, so it would be a super duper simple animation. It taught people though, like probably got a lot of people inspired to start animating. The game I played the most on that Mario Paint was the fly game, where you just try to swat a fly because it had cool music. Oh, how long have I been streaming? Feels like 10 hours. I don't know how people stream. Those Twitch people, they stream for so long. It's crazy. I don't watch Twitch, but I know about it. I kind of see this either being like straight flat black, or maybe I'll just scribble in the darkness like this. Maybe that's what I'll do. That looks fine, I suppose. Can always just make it better. Being alive is weird. Can't comprehend this. It's so strange to draw something because you're drawing it and yet you're still surprised by what you're seeing. I would have never just thought of this. It's like the act of actually moving your hand around and letting new lines emerge on a surface. It makes you see things, but it's like I never would have thought of whatever this shape is, whatever these shapes are. I never would have just thought of this. It's like you're surprising yourself by yourself, from yourself. And it's similar to dreaming, where unless you're lucid dreaming and you know you're in a dream, it's like your brain is tricking yourself that this dream is real. This is reality. But it's literally just this simulation that your brain has created and fooled yourself into thinking is real. Why does it do that? That's so weird. What's another the question of what's the purpose of dreaming? And it seems the dreams happen during the REM phase, and it might just be a byproduct. There might not be any actual reason why we dream. I mean, there might be, but there also might not be. It could just be this hallucinatory byproduct of the REM stage of sleep. And during that stage, your prefrontal cortex basically goes offline. And that's the part of your brain that has to do with reasoning, planning, critical thinking. So that can also explain why dreams are often very irrational and you might be more impulsive or emotionally charged in your dreams. Most of my dreams are just incomprehensible social situations. I wouldn't really call them nightmares, but it's just like uncomfortable situations. It's like I'm trying to process how would someone act in this situation? I used to have way more nightmares when I was a kid though. Mostly about Chucky. Scary doll. I hate Chucky. I don't like dolls. They're so scary to me. It's like, I don't know, anything that's not supposed to be alive that's alive. It's creepy. I'm not afraid of Five Nights at Freddy's though. That's a baby cartoon. I like listening to streams when I draw. I was listening to a bunch of video game podcasts like Rhythm and Pixels. They haven't streamed in a long time. XVGM Radio. And I've discovered a lot of cool soundtracks from video games I never would have played, but sometimes they have really interesting soundtracks that I was missing out on. Of course, all the Final Fantasy soundtracks, Sonic the Hedgehog, like a lot of the 90s music, I guess. And then there's a lot of cool indie games. Hollow Knight, Ori. I like Dreamcast music a lot. The soundtrack to Rez is... It's not something I can listen to all the time, but some pretty interesting... Oh, Sonic Adventure. I listen to that all the time. Sonic... The first two... Well, there's only two Sonic Adventure games, but yeah, the first two like 3D Sonic games. It's kind of like the only 3D Sonic era I super vibe with. I'm not a huge fan of Sonic trying to be more realistic, I guess. I mean, it's not super realistic, but I like it. Sonic Adventure felt like a true successor to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Hello. I didn't know I was streaming either. This is just a stream of consciousness stream. Don't know what's happening. Don't know what will happen. Don't know when I'll stop. Don't know if I'll stop. This is reality, baby. No strings attached. And I appreciate every single person. I might start streaming sometimes, but I also might not. But I'm going to start making more stuff on YouTube, like animation tutorials. And I want to start making my own cartoons, my own films. I was practicing some rubber hose stuff recently, and maybe I'll do a stream on that. drawing rubber hose characters. Like, you know, Cuphead is probably the most popular recent property that's embraced that style. It's if you don't know what rubber hose is, it was the style in the 1920s and further refined in the 30s. Started basically with Felix the Cat in the 1910s, and then you know, Steamboat Willie 1927 or 20 something. But then in the 30s they started really adding the principles of animation to the rubber hose stuff and inventing even more crazy good animation with it. But I guess the defining feature of rubber hose is in the name, rubber hose. Basically their limbs look like rubber hoses because they're jointless and they can move around in weird ways. And also some common tropes of rubber hoses, the volume of the character can change. As in, if you squished a balloon, the air would move. The balloon would get skinnier, but there wouldn't be any less air in the balloon no matter how you moved it around. But in rubber hose, a character could grow to 10 times its size. Well, that's kind of more before they started using squash and stretch. Then they followed the correct volume dispersion more. So like 1920s rubber hose was more about comic artists, newspaper artists who were coming in, and their style was very graphic and often metaphorical, where they used symbols. They'd have an actual question mark pop up over a character's head to show they were thinking. Whereas in the 1930s, especially with Walt Disney, who was striving for more realism, he moved away from that aspect and tried to show characters thinking and emoting more with their body language and their faces, and show characters that were truly alive. And Ub Iwerks, one of the best artists, one of the best animators. That was the end of that sentence. So, yep. Oh yeah, check chat. Nothing else? Okay. Gotcha. Okay, alright. Today I'm drinking black tea. And this is my sketchbook. I don't know if you can see it so good, but I was also thinking maybe I'll stream drawing in my sketchbook sometimes, and then I didn't, but I might sometime. Here's another picture. It's a rose, and have a picture of a tower in here. It's pretty, like concept for a film I've been talking about forever. The Terror of Babel. It's a tower that never stops being built and never stops falling apart. Thought about research. Well, I was researching how to do Kickstarter stuff to fund independent films. I just need to actually have a pilot trailer, like actually make more progress on stuff to show how it could be. But yeah. These rough drawings, these lines are kind of more like suggestions. Don't have to follow it perfectly. Something I like about digital drawing is you never run out of ink. I I have Copics that I've pretty much never used, and I have like actual sketchbook paper and like materials, but whenever I draw on physical stuff, I usually just draw my cheapest paper, like a notepad, and I just draw with a ballpoint pen because I'm always worried, well, maybe this drawing isn't worthy of me wasting my limited materials on. And then for digital stuff, that thought never crosses my mind. I know that's something I need to get over. I kind of see these being kind of balloony. White highlights coming around, yeah. Eyes are getting sleepy. I usually sleep like 9 hours a night, but for some reason, this entire month, I've been sleeping about 7 hours, sometimes 8, but I don't know why. I've just been waking up and ready to get rocking. But sometimes I used to kind of have insomnia stuff, more like morning insomnia. I could fall asleep easy, then I'd wake up too early and just lay in bed worrying about stuff. But I haven't done that. See what this looks like a little smaller. Well, it's starting to look like something. We'll just see what happens. I'll come back later and fill in the black parts when I well, might also start streaming actual animating stuff, like working on kind of blobby loops that are in production, and I think I'll stream cell shading those because that's something I can do without thinking too much. It's pretty automatic. Probably be kind of boring, monotonous, but it might also be interesting, particularly for people who are wanting to know how to cell shade. You can just see a process. I find cell shading very satisfying. Kind of see this thing being kind of like a tube type thing. Some wiggly middle contour type thing here, like on a pipe, and just divide it with some little lines here. Is anybody having a good Friday? Is anybody drawing anything or working on anything? And if so, tell me about it. Yeah, better save before this crashes on me. Have I seen the animation Crypto Zoo by Das Shaw? It's so cool. He uses real materials, I think. What? I have not seen that. I want to. Yeah, I'm gonna use traditional materials. I feel like it should be something I draw digital first to make sure it's worthy. That's a good idea. Test it out on digital and then draw it. Wow. Even though I didn't know what I was gonna draw and I wasn't expecting this, I'm still not surprised that this is what I end up drawing. People are hard to draw. I need to get back into life drawing. That's something I know it's one of my weaknesses is anatomy. But it's just like I never draw humans. But I also haven't been really involved in projects that required that. It's good to draw. It's good to take breaks from drawing every 20 minutes. Look away for 20 seconds at something at least 20 feet away. Helps prevent eye strain. I'm gonna look out my window for a little bit. I'm gonna stand up and stretch for 1 second. Ugh. Because it's important to remember that you have a body and you're not just consciousness that draws. You're inside this physical reality that requires water and stretching to stay in shape and function at an optimal level. It's also good to walk every day. Yeah. Thought about putting music in the background, but I don't want to get copyright striked. And all that stuff's a headache. And I don't know what I can use or not use. So, to make this less boring, you could even put on music on by yourself if you want. Oh, I love being alive. I love everything. It's weird. Something weird about drawing is it can cause a lot of anxiety, but it can also be a really good emotional release. It can get rid of anxiety as well. And at least for me, I notice that when I'm drawing, I'm not anxious. But when I'm not drawing, I'm anxious about drawing. I'm anxious that it's not going to work. So I find it's better to draw than it is not to draw. I'm cleaning your loops Shout out to Brittany Penn, or Kid Penn, or yep, on Instagram. You can check it out. She's my animation partner. Where'd my pen go? Is this what I'm using? Okay. I downloaded all these pens, but I just use a few. I'm pretty basic. I don't do all the fancy art stuff, all the textures or gradients or soft shading or all that. I like cell shading. But for backgrounds, more soft shading stuff can add more depth. But for characters, I strongly prefer more cell shaded vibe. I have a wedding coming up in April, and I haven't been to a wedding since like 2015 or 14. It's been about 10 years. And I'm nervous because I have to give a best man speech. My best childhood friend, and he told me that I don't have to give a speech. I could do a little animation instead. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I probably just talk about memories or something. I'm nervous. But just having a little animation play is far preferable to me standing on a stage having a panic attack in front of 300 people. The only issue with animation is it takes so much time. So the style is going to be super duper simple, more like those story time animations you see on YouTube. Something like that. Never really done anything like that, but I don't know. It's like, I don't know how much do I need to say stuff that the audience will understand. It's like I kind of just want to make it for him, but it's also going to be seen by other people. So it's a little. I'm more of a one-on-one person. I don't like thinking about how is something going to be interpreted by more than one person. You know, in a group of people, if there's a lot of people talking, I can't follow so many conversations. I just want to stick with one person. I tend to like just focus on one person and then forget about everyone else. But then once I'm done with that person, I'll move on and try to talk to other people. But I'm not good at the whole multiple people dynamic where a lot of people are talking at once and interrupting, and it's not really stressful. It's more just like kind of just zone out. Can't really, but yeah, that's probably another one of those things that the more you do it, the better you get at it. I just don't engage in those situations that much. This little highlights like a little swoosh. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. Doo-doo. Does that make sense? Yeah. That one will. I've done a few art commissions before. Like I said, my main thing's animation, but I have done a few illustrations. I did one of this alien that was sticking its tongue out like Laffy Taffy, and the tongue was wrapping all around his body, all crazy like, and inside the tongue were galaxies and planets. And then I did one of, what else did I do? A humpback whale who, it was the same person, that's why. And it was also like a bunch of planets inside his belly. And I feel like I've done some other stuff, but I'm kind of blanking. Make this part a little more 3D. Drawing some lines coming up it like this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The line's a little flat. Make it a little more curvy. Like this. I can feel myself like I've used up all my words. That happens sometimes where I have absolutely nothing at all to say. But that doesn't mean I'm mad, doesn't mean I'm sad. It just means I'm content. I'm gonna start streaming sometimes. But the issue is, do you do a schedule? Because a schedule would let people know when you're streaming. But it would also be like you have to organize your life around it. I don't know if I can do that. Sometimes I might be too tired, or just might not feel like it, or be on a client project. Definitely pros. So what's looking like so far. You know, I might do like grayscale coloring, or maybe I will color it. I don't know. I'll think about that later. And I might finish this up on a different thing. And I might just work on this a little bit more and then move on to another drawing and come back to it when I want to. Cause there's no rules. Once I get all this, the rough stuff I have here put down, I'm going to turn the rough layer off and then I can see this a little better. Maybe other things will reveal themselves to me. Yeah. Okay. Kind of see that. See something like this. Okay. Am I drawing this right? Okay, we'll go like this. Okay. I want to get some swoopiness in here. Let's see here. This will be like a little thing. A little thing coming out here. Little thing there. Maybe 3. One more down here. A little thing. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Put a little thing up there. No, that's stupid. Maybe I'll draw another curve here. So this is like a mandible or horns. Something like that. Flip it horizontally. Already I see some design error. What's up, Andrew? It's good to see you too. Love your animation. I always get excited when I see progress on Instagram. You have a really cool style, and the way you draw characters and the timing. I'm like, are you working on a film, like a short film? Is that what it was? Like there was like some animals, like a warrior. Also really liked that Akira fan animation little battle sequence you did of Kaneda and the Joker battling in an alleyway. I saw that. I was like, man, I wish they put that in the movie. I wish that movie had more the bike battles. The first 15 minutes is just so awesome. But I know that was insanely expensive, and just so fascinating how they did the lens flares and everything, all the details. I'll add some stuff over here. Oh, I need new glasses. My eyesight's not so good. Luckily, it's mostly just far away stuff that looks blurry. But I notice my eyes get tired a lot more easily now. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older or what. I'm slowly working on ideas for more animation courses. The only one I've put out so far is a fire course, and I saw that was in 2022. Somehow it's already 2024. I thought I'd have more courses out by then. But the next one most likely will be water. There's a lot you can do with water. And also just more free tutorials on YouTube. Just posted one on how to animate morphs, how to animate basic shapes morphing. Something I like to do a lot. And just doing morphs is a great way to learn easing in and easing out of keyframes. Because really with a morph animation, you just draw a key pose of something and then a key pose of something totally different and put a breakdown in the middle of it going into a other interesting shape or creature or whatever. And then you just add in-betweens between key pose A, the breakdown, and then the breakdown in key pose B. And then you just link the two key poses up again until it cycles in a seamless loop. It's really fun. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that you, yeah, I remember you got the fire course. I appreciate that. That's a good point, Brittany. I should probably put my protective glasses on. Then I would look super cool for this stream. I think I'll run and grab it super duper quick. Running. Alright. Now, I'm gonna go from looking like a dork to looking super cool. Call this basically blocks blue light. But the thing I like about these glasses is it doesn't make everything all orange. There's like a subtle tint, but it's not as bad as these other ones I had that were really distractingly orange. Sometimes these swoopy things can take a minute to clean up because you can only draw little sections and then try to connect the line where you left off. It can be a little bit frustrating. It just takes a few tries. If I do color this, I'm thinking either like kind of earthy tones but metallic-ish, or try something totally maybe like reds and oranges and yellows, or just in the opposite kind of vibe, more blues and purples. Purple is kind of my go-to color, so I should probably try some other stuff. It's hard because purple is objectively the best color, so it gets the most use. And I'm being jokey in case anyone can't tell from my tone, because my tone is always the same, I've been told, regardless of whether I'm happy, serious, sad. I have to emote better. So just imagine I was emoting the correct emote. Drawing just for no reason is really satisfying. Sometimes I forget it's good to just do something without a super defined objective. Not always. But if you're in a creative rut, or if you're not feeling inspired, just take the pressure off. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. Just scribble some stuff on paper and just see what happens. You know? It's like there's literally nothing bad that can come from that. And if you don't get anything worthwhile out of it, or you think you don't get anything worthwhile out of it, you're not any worse off than you would be if you weren't drawing in the first place. So you really only have something to gain. When I zoom in more, I start to see how loosey-goosey this all is. It doesn't need to be super clean though. But if I could polish this up later, my own time, but sometimes I like things to be a little punk rock. There's a certain appeal to lo-fi, unpolished, just raw expression. Hey, thanks so much, Andrew. Thanks for stopping by. What's up, Terry Pickett? Thanks for stopping by. Oh yeah, I was talking about Iwerks before. He did when he quit working for Walt Disney for a few years and started his own studio. He made characters like Flip the Frog, and but one of his best cartoons, and I think one of the best cartoons, period. I think it's called Balloon World or Balloon Town, something like that. Just type in Iwerks Balloon, and it's it's like a silly symphony, but like a modern day video game almost. Because there's like, I don't know, it's cool. It's a whole balloon world, and the villain is a pushpin, and it's just really imaginative and fun. Okay, let's see here. Now I kind of see this whole thing connecting to here. Guess that makes sense. Yeah. Do it that way. Whenever there's a change of direction, I like to add inside one of these little curves, changing direction to help show it a little more clearly. It's like this little C shape in here helps to show. Maybe one over here. I probably shouldn't fuss over it. I shouldn't fuss too much. I'm kind of getting lost in the weeds here. Might do a tutorial on basic shapes, like maybe one on like turning cylinders into different kind of perspectives. Do one on boxes being squished and stretched. Because really all I'm doing right now is like taking kind of cylindery type shapes and just twisting them around. It's pretty mindless because it's just like a method that you do, like a script, and then you just kind of do it a bunch, repeat it, and slowly things start to emerge. Then it's kind of like you're improvising, playing jazz with it a little bit. I think I'm doing a good job not saying cringy stuff, at least. I mean, that might have been cringy. Give a little twist here. I don't know what that is. Whatever. Stupid. Oh man, am I running out of steam on this one? Getting hot face. Might have to come back to this. I don't hate it. Okay, I turned the rough layer off. This is where we're at so far. I don't hate it. I might have to just come back to it though, because like I said, I've been staring at it, and it's good to step away sometimes and take a little, even a 10-minute breather. Go on a walk, come back. You'll see things that you weren't realizing before. Same thing goes with making music or mixing. Especially with mixing, you have to give your ears a break. Otherwise, you start getting used to certain frequencies, and your mix is going to become really biased towards particular frequencies, and your ears actually get fatigued, especially with high frequencies in the 10,000 plus frequency range. Your ears will start to adjust to them, and you might start mixing those sounds higher than they should be, and then when you come back to it, it's going to be really ear piercing. So I don't know if there's a similar thing with color, like maybe your eyes become adjusted to certain saturation or certain otherwise eye fatiguing color spectrums or color combinations, but if you step away and then come back, your eyes have like recalibrated. I don't know if that's the same thing that happens with your eyes as happens with your ears, but I know at least with your mind, you will have fresh ideas if you step away. And I'm just about getting to that point on this one where I feel like I'm starting to hit a little bit of a plateau as far as knowing what I should do besides just slightly refining some of this and thinking like, should I color this whole thing in black or add this stuff, these little curvy curves. I mean, it would make sense since I did this over here as a design motif to repeat. It would make sense to do that sometimes, but then again, sometimes you only want something to happen once for a bit of contrast. But I'll see if I like this. Well, I guess I like that one. Like it's slicing in the middle. guess I kind of can live with this. Maybe just have them slicing the middle on these ones. No, I don't know. I might start to draw something else. I think I'm getting to that point. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna save this. I'm just gonna start drawing something else because I feel like it. What's up, Aiden Daniels? Good to see you. What's up, Crazy House 05? Thank you so much. I'm drawing something else now, people. This was the rough drawing. Just delete this. Bring my opacity up, and I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna scribble stuff and see what happens. 'Cause why not? This one, I'm already feeling more of a tubular SE shaped stuff. Already feeling something like this coming out, wrapping around. We'll get a little overlap. And again, this is the rough drawing. Just basically getting in some kind of shape that will later reveal things to me. And you can get a twist, putting a twist in the contour inside where it twists around here. That already adds depth. You can get a lot of mileage out of a twist. Kind of have a twist up here. Like this. And this isn't going to be any literal thing. It's just going to be random thing that doesn't exist in reality. I'm going to flip it horizontally to check if this design is working the other way. It's weird how when you flip it horizontally you can see like weird shapes that stick out to you weird. I think Leonardo da Vinci invented that concept by looking at things in the mirror. Maybe he didn't, I'm not sure, but he didn't kind of pioneer a bunch of stuff. He was pretty smart. Maybe I'll get a little chubbier back here. Maybe kind of coil around. Twist it up. Maybe it wants to coil like a spring. Like it's sort of releasing some kind of energy. Middle. Twist here, maybe curve in the opposite direction. It's getting smaller. I can hear stuff. It's like I can hear the shapes, like a soft circly shapes with like sploosh, whoosh, whoosh, but then jaggedy shapes like ka ka za za. It's I don't know. It must be something. Let's see. Don't know how tangled up I want this to be, but we'll see here. We'll see. Flip it back. All right. Kind of starting to see stuff already. For some reason, I am seeing almost like a face or something that could be here, but I don't know if I necessarily want this to be a character. But whew. Maybe there could be some translucent stuff coming around here. Could be a little translucent. Something wrapping around. Or not. Doesn't need to be translucent, but you get another pipe going in here. Like this. That might actually give it more depth. Yeah. Yeah. I see that. Push it out a little bit as it comes up here. It gets a little chubbier. Like the coil is bulging as it wraps around and goes back inside. And this comes around here. You can almost see these two pipey things being two different colors to further separate them. And maybe this is coming out over here. Maybe this one comes through here. Okay, let me think here. Does this make sense? Could have it. Ooh, I see. I'm trying to imagine the continued direction. And it's like this. Okay. I'm hungry. This is making me think of noodles or spaghetti. Flip it horizontally. So sometimes there's like certain directions to draw that are easier. Because our arms are just muscles, they're not precise robots. So find that some pin strokes come a little easier for you to control if you do it in if you have a certain angle you like. Okay. I'm thinking. Refine this a little bit. Make it a little skinnier as it goes down. This is the stream of consciousness stream. do there? Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. I think I know what to do. Do not know what to do. Maybe it'll come forward again. Yeah, okay, okay, okay. Does this want to connect to here? Okay. Ooh, the sound of a side whistle. That's what it sounds like. Okay, I feel like this is the end goal here. And that's where it's connecting to. Yes. I think the next stream I do will either be coloring these or doing the rubber hose, designing rubber hose characters. Or doing something actually animating in real time. But we'll see. Like I said, I didn't know I was gonna stream today. I was just decided to. Ooh, I see something. I see something. Like some kind of... something. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. I'm just gonna start dividing these shapes a little bit. See if I can see something. Could just start scribbling stuff inside. Might start seeing patterns. This is starting to look like a snake when I add this kind of wiggly wobbly textures. It's looking like a pattern you'd see on a snake's tail. But I could add... Oh, wait a second. I might add like little trees and stuff. Maybe this is like a really messed up planet. Little mountains up here. It's a little messed up planet. And like a river. So like kind of like mountainy shapes up here. Go back to the bottom. I don't know. I hate that idea. Let's give it an eyeball. This might actually be interesting to add kind of faces in here. I really should have been practicing faces if I want to do something like this, but we'll see, we'll see. Oh, I'm running out of steam. I think I'm done. I'm done for today. I'm just running out of steam. Alright. Also, I forgot what I was doing. Okay. Alright. I'm done. Thank you for watching. And thank you for subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video.